Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Robin with About That RV Life, and I'm going to talk to you today about being flexible with your RV rental business. Here in Washington State, where we live and where we rent our RVs from, we are having a severe cold snap. It has been sub 20 degrees, which is I know not very cold for a lot of parts of the country, but right here where we live, it's very, very cold. And for RVing, for camping, it's very cold. So we've had to make some adjustments. Before we really get into it here though, I just want to give you a quick reminder to give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click the bell so you always get the most up-to-date videos from About That RV Life. A couple of weeks ago, we released a video about how to run an RV business as a couple. If you haven't seen that video, we'll link it here below, but it's a great walkthrough of what it looks like for us to work as a team and function in this business together. So one of the things that we talked about was being patient and just being able to communicate with each other. And that is going to come really into play in this video when I start talking about just being flexible. If you've never rented an RV before, or if you've been only renting for a little while and you're coming into your first winter, that is exactly what we are experiencing right now. And so we had no idea what our season was going to be like, what our business might be like, and we really didn't know what the weather was going to be like and how that would affect our campers. So this has been a very trial and error and learning experience for us. One of the things that we learned, and that we should have already known because we've been alive for a number of years now, is that you cannot control Mother Nature. And when the weather gets cold, or we get snowstorms, or there's freezing rain, or the roads are bad, we are not in control of any of those things. Unfortunately, they still affect our business even if we can't control them. So in December, we had a couple of rentals getting ready to go out, and the week before they were supposed to go out, we went out to do an inspection and found that one of the toilets had frozen up inside the mechanics of the flusher, and when we tried to operate it, something in there broke. It happened to be like the day before Christmas that we were looking and trying to get to a store from where we live where we're going to be able to find the parts to fix it or be able to order something in time to fix it was not going to happen. And then in the other camper, it just was running through propane super fast, trying to keep any amount of warmth in there. And we discovered that it really just isn't designed well for winter. It had a couple of areas in the slide where air was coming in. You could see daylight coming in through these little areas that need to be sealed off a little bit better, I think. And it's probably something that we can do for next season, but we were not prepared for it for this season. We hate to have to change anything on our renters, especially last minute, because it's not good business, right? And you're planning a trip, you're trying to get ready to go, you've got everything planned out, you think your camper is all set up, but then the owner calls you and is like, well, actually we had a problem come up and it's just not going to work out. And luckily for us, what ended up happening is that the people renting the campers decided that the weather was going to be too bad and traveling wasn't going to be easy for them anyway. They were coming from longer distances away. And so it turned out good that they needed to not use them during that time anyway. But had they still wanted them, we were not going to have them available just because they really weren't ready. Like I said, we really hate it. Because of the way we like to run our business, we were able to offer them credits to be able to use later on in the season when everything clears up and they want to make these trips again. So they have a year to use the time that they had already planned to use and that they've paid for. But we still just hate to have to cancel the trips. It's just a part of the business though. So a couple of things that we were able to learn through this situation. The first thing, maybe we aren't going to rent during the cold winter months of maybe November, December, January. I think we've talked about going even as far as February, depending on how the weather changes throughout the seasons. Sometimes here, February can still be very, very, very wintry. Other times, February is 60 degrees and it's nice out and people are ready to get out and go about. So it will all just depend on the year. But for this year, we've decided we're going to shut down until February 1st. The second thing that we learned, we need to be checking on our campers if we don't have them winterized a lot more often. We were probably only going out and checking on them a couple of times a week, which during the summer months, that's way more than what we need to do if they're just sitting here on the property. But with this cold weather, you just don't know what's going to happen out there, and you want to make sure that your units are not getting damaged because they're getting too cold. And the third thing, the final thing, the last thing I'm going to mention is that we learned that I do not like the stress of having campers for rent in these cold winter months. And it's more stress for me than it is benefit of having them available and sending them out. We do still have one of our campers out right now. It's on a longer term rental for a construction project. But I don't think that we would choose to do that again during the winter months. It just really is too stressful for me, having to think about and worry about how they're doing, how it's going to go for the renters, all of those things. And so I think in the future, we're just not going to do it. There you go, guys. Those are my 3 things that I pulled out of this winter season and why it's important to be able to be flexible. It's important to be able to change things on a dime and know that it's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Leave us some comments. We love to read what you have to say, and we'd love to get back to you as you are leaving those comments. In the meantime, happy camping. We'll talk to you soon.